Good morning. This is Shirley from Alaska, the Herb Lady. I'm going to speak on something that a lot of people really doesn't know about, these flower essence. I taught a teaching last week on it too, but on a different one. And honestly, everybody needs this for the emotions, because a lot of times the emotions are locked into the cells. And they keep saying, I keep doing this over and over and over again. Why am I doing it? Because it's cell memory and it's locked into the cells. And if you can get it unlocked and get it out of that cell and get some new cells without that memory, then you can break that habit, or what, a bad habit. It could be overeating, it can be drinking, it can be smoking, it can be being mean and ugly. Like today, I'm going to talk about it's a flower essence that's called Keep Cool. And every time when people gets on my machine and Keep Cool comes up, I know they're sweet and lovable most of the time. But on the other side is you drive them too much, they will stab you, they will get you. And it has to do with the liver. And the liver needs to be cleaned out. And so Keep Cool, when I see it on people, I know they can really get upset. I mean, over 100%, over here 100% upset when you drive them to the wall. So I hope you listen to this, because it's very easy to get rid of it. You can put it in water, you can put it under your tongue, you can put it in a spray and spray it in the air. I mean, like, I'm going to give you examples, but like if you know people's coming over and they're going to talk about something that's going to be rough and tough, and you always get in a fight with, spray it in the air before they get here. Or if you I got wives that buy this for their husband and they stick it in their water, and they're much gentle. They don't blow up. So it just depends on what you want to use it for. But we have 7 kinds of flower essence, and each one of them is for something different. But today I'm going to speak on Keep Cool. We all get angry sometime. We just get mad and get angry. It takes a lot for me to get angry, but I guess I've been taking these herbs so long. And when you get older, I think you get angry less, I hope. But I've met some older people that's really angry, so it just depends on how you got your body cleaned out. Because I always, I'll tell you, I had this little girl came in, she's like 17 years old, and her parents sent her in here because they knew I would talk to her. And I should have gave her Keep Cool, but I didn't even think about Keep Cool. I thought about cleaning out her liver because she was just wanting to leave home at 17. Well, I told her about Mood Elevator. And when I told her about that, she said, sure. So she took one a day. Within 3 days, she came back, and I was talking to my other customer. I think there was 2 of them sitting at my table. And she said, I need an herb. And I said, well, which one do you need? She said, I need the happy pill. I said, the happy pill? I said, I don't sell happy pills. She said, oh, yes. She said, you remember I came in 3 days ago? I said, well, yes, you came in because your liver needed to be cleaned out, and I put you on Mood Elevator. She said, oh, that's what I want. She said, my dad seen me change in 3 days, and now he wants it. I went, whoa. And then her sisters came in, and then a pastor's lady was standing here, and she was listening to the conversation, and she wanted one. And she said, well, 1 didn't help her, or 2 didn't help her, but when she got up to 3, she was really happy. So what it does, it works with your liver. So anyway, within that couple of weeks, I sold 12 happy pills, which that's what they called them, and it was just hilarious. And some people still stayed on them because they noticed the difference in them, because when you got a dirty liver, you are not happy. Okay, anger is a natural emotion when we feel someone has violated our rights. When someone violates our rights or breaks their agreement with us naturally, we feel angry. Most people in modern society have poor personal boundaries and unhealthy relationship with anger. This manifestation in 3 ways. Number 1, it's passive. That means being submissive behavior with a person and tolerates the abuse and gives up their rights for the sake of others. And you've seen people like that. They won't talk back, they just be quiet. But they don't understand what it's doing to them inside. It's messing them up inside. Number 2 is is aggressive, rebellious behavior, which means a person fights back and often becomes abusive themselves. And number 3 is the one that you probably see the most. Number 3 is the negative coping strategy is passive-aggressive behavior, which is the appearance of submission coupled with subtle forms of rebellion. And here the person acts agreeable on the surface, but acts negative behind the person's back. And so a lot of times I've seen, you've seen people like that all the time. And it's so sad because they think they're talking about the person that's given them the trouble, but they're literally destroying their emotion right there. And it's getting locked up in their cells. When any of these 3 coping mechanisms are part of one's personality, it is a sign that one needs to develop more constructive relationship with anger and with shame. It may also be an indication that one's right was violated as a child and their emotion wounds from childhood that needs to be acknowledged and healed. When a person chooses to vent anger, they become overprotective of themselves. Instead of maintaining self-control, they seek to control others around them in order to try to make themselves safe. They are easily irritated and often lose their temper. They often become controlling and even abusive. And you see a lot of men when they get drunk, they're like that. But it's because they're addicted to the alcohol, and they can do that, and that's why they beat up on the women. They can control and even be abusive. In some cases, they can even threaten violence and actually become violent. Venting anger is also a sign of lack of self-control. In fact, the less that we are in control of ourselves, the more that we seek to control others. And there's a lot of people, they don't want to control themselves, they want to control others, and that's not right. You're supposed to take care of yourself first. Venting anger is always a lack of love for others and respect for their rights and feelings. Venting anger destroys feelings of love and closeness of relationship. Anger has only one function, and that is to push away what is violated, our rights, and causes us pain. Venting anger literally destroys relationships because it violates the bonds of love that join people together. Anger also affects us physically, and this is where I come into. A lot of times I'm giving them herbs, and I want to, really help to repair them. And I had repaired people over and over again with these certain herbs, and other people, it wouldn't work. I'll give you one example. I had a guy he was in his late 60s, I think he was 69, and I had already gave him the colon cleanse, the liver cleanse, but he still had lung problems. Well, it's your colon when you got to clean it out really good, and he did. And he still had this lung problem. And I said, whoa. And I said, there's got to be something else. And I mean, this was like 10 years ago. And I said, have you not forgiven somebody? And he looks at me and he said, I'll kill her. I went, okay, that might be it. Because we couldn't repair his lungs. And so I said, start writing letters to her, but you don't have to give them to her. But write down every single thing this lady has done to you. Everything and what you want done to her. And then I said, then at the end, stop forgiving her. Stop writing, I forgive you, and keep writing it down. And I said, then let me know when you finally forgive her. It took a year, and he came in, and he was in tears, and he said, I forgave her. I said, well, good. And his lungs started being healed after that. But before that, a lot of times unforgiveness keeps you sick. And anger will keep you sick. You will find this out. It says it will inflame the tissues. They will become red because you have got unforgiveness in there, and you're not taking, you're disliking somebody, but it's affecting you. And whenever a fever or inflammation are present, it's a sign that the body is fighting something. It could be infection or toxin, but it can also be unresolved anger towards people around them. It is interesting that people who vent anger and lack close relationships are not only prone to heart attacks, but they are most likely to die from them. Modern research shows that arterial inflammation is the actual root cause of arterial plaque and the underlying cause of heart disease. When people allow excessive anger to rule their lives, their heart literally fails them. In both Western and Chinese tradition, excess anger has been linked to the liver. Anger is also associated with the liver, the gallbladder function. I had a lady in yesterday, and she's having gallbladder trouble. But I also had a lady that called me on the telephone from Anchorage, and she just found out she got pregnant with her 7th child, and she don't want it. And I said, oh dear. She said, just help me. I'm so sick, because she vomits all the time. I said, I told you with the other child. I said, don't you remember me telling you to get your liver cleaned out? She said, well, I wasn't planning to have any more children. I said, well, you get pregnant instantly. And so I said, you never know when you're not going to have another child. And I said, it's just better to clean your liver out. And she said, I needed to do it, but she said, I can't handle this. I'm so sick. And she just sits there and vomits constantly. But one of the doctors I sat under, he said that you will keep vomiting because it's to protect the child, because your liver is toxin. And when your liver is toxin, you don't want that poison to go into the child. So that's why it makes you vomit all the time. And I remember when I was pregnant, I felt like vomiting once in a time, but I never did vomit. Not with neither one of them. I never did vomit, but I had to, like if the room was too hot, I had to go run and get into a cold little room, or I had to go run and put my head between my knees, or I had to go run and lay down in bed when I was making homemade bread. The smells would get to me, but I never got to the place that I vomit. She can't even look at something without vomiting. So there's a big difference. Chronic anger can be underlying tissue of the liver and the gallbladder disease. So her liver needs to be cleaned out. And then I had another lady yesterday wanted her gallbladder cleaned out. Keeping Cool, a flower essence blend, is designed to help people who vent anger to regain self-control and respect for the rights and feelings of others. And what it does, it says that your cells is all locked up with this anger, and Keeping Cool literally opens the cell up and release it, because they use like 7 different flowers in it, and these flowers, they go through a lot of stuff, but they also open up and they release it, and anyway, it works. We have found out it works. It is an indicator for someone who is impatient, controlling, easy irritated, quick to lose his or her temper. If you know somebody like that and they're going to come over and visit you, spray the room. It contains flower essence that encourage tolerance, acceptance of others, makes them more open and loving communication and forgiveness. And sometimes what they have to do, especially men, they have to forgive themselves. Keep Cool helps a person to become more receptive to other people. It points a view and works together in relationship rather than getting locked into competition and a power struggle. And I don't know if you know what an affirmation is, but you can say it like, you may not believe it, but if you keep saying it over and over and over. See, I took 30 classes on the brain because I had a lot of people coming in with Alzheimer's, and this lady there was a college class on the brain, and I took it, and she said what you do is you make pathways in your brain when you say something over and over. And so she said, just like playing the piano, people say, oh, I can't play it. Oh, yes, they can, but they have to practice over and over, and they make that pathway in their brain, and then all at once, when they make enough pathway, they can just sit down and play. But she said they don't realize that the brain will do it, but you have to keep practicing, and that's why they keep saying practice. And I can remember my teacher and with Susanna and Shannon, they did not want to practice, but more they practice, better they got. Affirmations is saying it over. So the first affirmation on Keeping Cool is, I am in control of my temper. And they say, look in the mirror. I am in control of my temper. I am in control of my temper. And you just keep saying it till you believe it. Because if you don't believe it, it's not going to work. So you just keep saying it. The second one is, I'm listening to acknowledgement and accept other people's points of view. Now that's true, except I don't accept when people say they have to drink coffee or they have to eat sugar. I don't accept that. But if they say I'm eating vegetables or you can eat that vegetable better, the truth is fine. But when it's not the truth, you don't have to accept it. But you got to listen and acknowledge and accept other people's point of view. Number 3 is I'm patient, I'm kind, I'm loving with those around me. I'm patient, I'm kind, I'm loving those around me. And what you do is you start seeing a person a completely different way, even when you can't understand them. Because even in school, I used to see kids that, I don't know what it was in me, but I always seen kids different than other kids that couldn't have friends. I would go and make myself friendly to them. Kids that people wouldn't talk to, I would go and talk to them. And to me, it was amazing how they became my friend, and even some of them is still my friend because nobody else, because they was a new girl. And see, I was never the new girl. I stayed from the 1st grade to the 12th grade in the same school district. So I was in all the kids, the same kids over and over and over again. And the 4th one is when I feel angry, I count to 10 before I say anything. So if we count to 10 before we say anything, most of you, if you got candida, you already forgot what you was angry about. And you got to think, how many marriages are these fighting back and forth? I can't even remember the last time me and my husband fought. But no. He has his opinion, I have my opinion. But I say, okay, which one do you want to do? You want my opinion or you want your opinion? And if he wants to do his, we'll try his. And if he wants to do mine, I'll try mine. Well, we feel like we're too old to fight. We don't fight. And then it tells you how to take them. Take 4 drops under the tongue when you're feeling angry, frustrated, or you're feeling like you're going to lose your temper. Just put it under your tongue, and then take 4 to 5 drops per day, 3 to 4 times a day. If you have a problem of controlling your temper, or making something's making you feel angry, whatever person's done, like if somebody kills your dog, or you just want to wring their loving neck, keep cool, because the person probably feels just as bad as you do if they ran over it or something like that. You have to think about how they feel, and you may feel worse than they do, but you still have to take control of yourself. When discussing sensitive subjects that may lead to an argument, have everyone involved take 5 to 10 drops. Keep cool prior to the discussion. Have them to take the additional dose if they stop to raise a voice or vent anger. It can also help to take a capsule or 2 of kava kava. I have kava kava here. I don't sell much of it, but it does relax you. But it doesn't open you up like Keep Cool does. Making a flower essence spray, use 10 drops of Distress Remedy. I talked about that last week. And 10 drops of Keep Cool in a 4-ounce bottle of pure water, mist it in the air after the arguments. And you say, why after? Why not before? Well, sometimes you forget, but after, it can be in the air. Have you ever walked into the room and you went, something's went wrong in here? I can pick that up real easy sometimes. When anger is suppressed, a person also has a difficult time saying no to others. They tend to sacrifice their own needs, trying to please others and take care of them. Instead of serving from a place of abundance and self-empowerment, they are serving out of fear that they aren't good enough to do what they want. Their service is really a front to prove themselves that they are good person and worthy to be loved. Suppress anger causes a person to lose his or her personal power. The poor personal boundaries are also almost like a neon sign to a predator. Abused people flashing the sign saying, easy victim here, easy victim here. As such, as these people tend to attract energy parasites, people who leech off of them and drain their energy, which usually produces resentment. And because a lot of women say, why do I always fall in love with somebody that's, like that? It's because that's what you put off, they put off. When their resentment gets better of them, they may explode with anger and rage, which makes them even feel more guilty. Depression is really a lack of energy, a lack of ability to mount a normal response to life. If anger is suppressed enough, it turns inward against self, which can result in self-destruction behavior and even suicide. And Anchorage in Alaska is #1 in suicides. And so I think, I wish I had enough to give everybody a bottle. People who lack the self-love, but they need the teaching too, because you can't keep eating sugar and think you're going to be healthy, or keep drinking caffeine and think you're going to be healthy. You can't be. People who lack self-love needs to stick up for themselves, and maybe more frequent infection, problems with parasites, environment, illnesses. If the anger is turned against one, self-blame, they have an autoimmune disease. Resentment can build up inside a person to the point that it starts eating them alive, which forms growth, cysts, polyps, tumors, and it forms cancer. And people wonder why, but a lot of times it's what they hold inside of them that causes the poison. Anger is an emotion that makes us want to push, punch, shove, and get something away from us. It also makes us want to shout, yell, and scream, which is also pushing out with our voice, energy, and anger, and say, go away. When you suppress the verbal expression of anger, you create tension to your stomach that contributes to developing a hiatal hernia, where the stomach is drawn upward and blocking the movement of the diaphragm. I have a doctor that I had the video of a hiatal hernia, and until he found out what it was, he almost died in the swimming pool, because he went swimming and he lost his breath and went down, and just so happened this herbalist had stopped by, and they went and pulled him out, and the guy realized what he had was a hiatal hernia, and he pulled it down, and when he did, he started breathing and he came back alive again. And so, hiatal hernia can kill you, but you can also repair it until you get mad again. And when you get mad again, it pops right back up. So I have a teaching from a nurse that she said how she repairs them. And so I do have a teaching on how to repair a hiatal hernia. It takes a while, but it does work. Holding back, striking out movements, and anger creates tension in the shoulders. Remember, keep cool. Its blend is designed to help people who vent anger to regain self-control for the rights and feeling of others. Keep cool encourages tolerance, acceptance of others. It's open and loving communication and forgiveness. I hope and pray that you enjoy this teaching, because there's someone out there that may need it, and I think we all do to a certain extent, to get our liver cleaned out so we can be happy. We're on this earth only for a short time, and we might as well enjoy it and be very happy. Have a great day.